I'm Michelle. I'm going to be our hostess today because guess what? Jennifer and Amanda are going to be our presenters today. Jennifer is going to get us started off, and she is going to be telling us about how to produce videos in PowerPoint today. Jennifer is the owner of Excel and Flourish, which she founded in 2012. She is a Microsoft Office master and has been delivering corporate Microsoft training for over 20 years. And this week she became a Microsoft Service Adoption Specialist.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
What is that?
And
she asked what it was. Go ahead, Jennifer.
So it's really, instead of just doing the training, it's actually helping the whole organization with their plan to get everybody moved on to the new Microsoft. Yeah, it's crazy.
So Jennifer, if you want to take it away with teach us all how to produce video in PowerPoint, that'd be great.
Sounds great, Michelle. Thank you, and happy Wednesday, everybody. I don't even know the day. So thanks for joining us. And so please know that we encourage questions. And because this is a really small group today, super happy to have you guys ask questions throughout our time. And we do kind of just share the time. So I'll present for maybe 15 minutes-ish, allow some time for questions, and then we'll trade off, just so you guys know how we sort of lay things out. But the reason why I picked this topic, and the reason why I hope you're interested in the topic, is because a lot of people go outside and use other tools for editing or things like that when they could really just use PowerPoint to do a lot of stuff. So I want to give you a quick example. So for those of you who know me, you might know that I love Jimmy Fallon. I'm going to start sharing my screen with you. And quarantine allowed Jimmy Fallon to like plug my business in a way. I mean, in a way that I never thought possible, really. He probably didn't think it was possible either. So here's what we have. And I'm going to start by just showing you what this looks like in PowerPoint itself. Here we go. So this is the video that I downloaded of Jimmy Fallon, and I have it input, and I'll show you how to do this. I have it input into PowerPoint. Actually, hold on. I have to fix my screen sharing for just a second because I forgot to click the share computer sound. Oh, amateur. All right, here we go. So when I hit play on this video, do this demo. It's grabbing the part that I want to grab. When you're done with this, it did mention that the way to get out of it is Control-Shift-Q. That's the command for quitting. So I'm going to first do this demo. So what we have here is me doing a screen sharing recording something that Jimmy's doing. So here's the thing. You can actually grab video, put it into PowerPoint, and play with it right here in PowerPoint, okay? So let's talk about what's going on in here right now. What if I didn't want that audio to go into, and what if I just wanted it mute, right? You actually can change your volume, and I could do my voiceover to whatever's happening in the video, right? So let's back up. We're gonna get to the end. We're gonna work from the beginning forward. And let's do, clearly I have a whole lot of stuff with Jimmy Fallon. I'm not saying it's a sickness, it's just, you know, normal. It's normal. Okay, thank you for the validation.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, so here's what happened. Jimmy Fallon decided very early on in quarantine to do a bit about Microsoft Excel. So of course for me, I'm gonna win at that. So what I did was I went out to YouTube, and I'll do that right now for you as well, and I grabbed the screenshots. So let me do a new window. And you can do this with any of these things. That's the fun part. So if I go to YouTube, nope, fabulous, here we go. It just does not want to cooperate with me right now. Let me come it back this way.
Here we go. Look it's in my history. Like I've looked at it once or twice, just saying. Okay, and we have to go through the commercial. This is always fun. It doesn't matter what you do.
You probably have questions like, how much cash should I have?
It doesn't matter how expert you are at tech, you can't avoid commercials, unless Amanda can come up with a better way to do that. And I actually know exactly where this lands in his at-home edition. It's 4 minutes and 12 seconds. So here's what happens. When he gets to the part that I'm interested in, I have this on for closed captioning as well. I can actually do a screenshot and get the image that I want. So just make a new slide here so you can see the process. You can get your screen grabs without leaving, you can get your screen grabs without leaving PowerPoint. So you can go to Insert, make this just a little bit smaller so I know I have it right behind me. I'm gonna go to Insert, Images, Screenshot. And I can go to screen clipping or actually grab the window. Either way works. I'm gonna grab the window just for ease right now. And now it's inserted my whole window in there, and then I can actually go in and crop or edit that image if I want to. So that's the technique I used to grab all of these earlier screenshots. Does that make sense for everybody about grabbing a screenshot? Okay, so wait, there's more. I'm gonna get rid of that last one. So the next thing I did was I grabbed them and I literally went in and I pressed play till each time the closed captioning changed. So he says, I saw that there's a Microsoft Excel training program now available for $49.99. Yep, I'm 3 weeks of isolation board, but I'm not quite Microsoft Excel training board, which I thought was hilarious. But then I thought, oh, but there's an opportunity here, right? And I said, unless that Microsoft Excel training is delivered by Jennifer at Excel and Flourish. Come on. This makes me feel very good. So now I can turn this into, these slides can be turned into a movie or a GIF, right? So it's this idea of how do you take some stuff that's already out there, and you could do it with just the video itself if you had grabbed the video. So how do you do that with stuff that's out there and actually use it for video production? It's the same way that you can turn any PowerPoint video that you've done into a video. And what you want to do is you always want to go into your slideshow and do rehearse timings if you're not doing a voiceover. Rehearse timings if you're not doing a voiceover. Record slideshow if you are doing a voiceover. So let me start with rehearse timings. So rehearse timings, it's not actually capturing my voice. I just have to think, how long should I be on each slide? And you'll see in the upper left-hand corner how it's counting. On the left, it's counting how many seconds I'm on the slide, and then on the right, it's telling me how many seconds I've gone total. But this is a way that it's really like adding your slide transitions or animations, but with some more control, as if you were reading what's on the slide. Okay, so now I wanted that to be about 30 seconds. My total time is 30 seconds. We do want to save the slide timings. That part is now done. Now what we can do is we can actually save this. And when you go to save as, you have several different options. And most of us are just used to either saving something as a PowerPoint, so people can click through themselves and or edit, or a PowerPoint show. But PowerPoint shows don't land very well if you're trying to use it on social media. So instead, you can save this as a MP4, an MPEG-4 video, right from PowerPoint. You do not need video editing software. You don't anything that you could do, you can do it right here. So it's going to take a second for it to save. And I want to save it one other way as we go. So down at the very bottom is where it's taking a while to save. But the other thing I love here, which I've just discovered, is for anybody who might want to do something cool like a GIF, you can actually, those timings can turn those slides into an animated GIF. So let me just use Sue Gresham as an example, if you don't mind. Sue, let's just say like you you wanted to do something branded, and you just created like 3 slides that were branded about an upcoming event. And it was, first slide is I'm the LinkedIn lady logo. Second slide is all about what you have coming up. And then the third slide is like, contact me now if you want more information or something like that. And you time it so you're giving enough time for each person to read the slide, but the GIF automatically loops, right? Like when you see a GIF on Facebook or LinkedIn, it automatically is going to loop. Mary Irish, you could use the same type of thing for upcoming events that you guys have. And that way it's a little bit more interactive than just an image. It has, it's just a different way to engage with people. And it's simple because you can do it right in PowerPoint. You don't have to go into Canva and then export your images and then import them into a GIF thing. And you can customize your timings. So we're going to do that too. We're going to make a different GIF here. And the thing is this, the reason why I wanted to spend some time on this today, you guys, is because PowerPoint is super powerful. We're just not used to thinking creatively with it. So a couple other pieces as the end results are starting to save right now. Each one of these slides can be considered a separate image. Each slide, so let's say I wanted to go design something cool, but my better place for me to design it might be in PowerPoint, but I have to save it as an image to go somewhere, not as a PowerPoint file. When you do File Save As here, change it to a JPEG. Change it to a JPEG, and when you go to save it, I'm going to add another indicator here. It will ask you, do you want to save all of your slides as JPEGs? Or do you want to save just that one? And now you can go into PowerPoint and do all of your editing or bring all these different layers in without having to be in a special program for it. Most people are just comfortable with PowerPoint. So you can just say just this one, and now it saves that. So here's what we have. We have that as an image. Here we go. That is the JPEG that we got, right? So even Sue, it might take some putzing with it, but you could maybe do your LinkedIn background. Now, Canva's great for that too, so don't get me wrong. But there could be some fun things that you might do in there. Okay, so now as a GIF, it's going to require me to, nope, it is timing it. It is slowly timing it. I just added my times too long on that. So it might, I wanted people to be able to read the text. But this is what the GIF looks like. And then the video is, again, it's a 30-second video in MP4 format. Now, you've taken that one PowerPoint that you've done just by recording timings. And if you wanted to, I'll finish with this. Actually, 2 more things I want to share. One, if you wanted to add your narrations, you go into the record slideshow. I'm going to record from the beginning. Now, if you've re-recorded a few times, which I have done, you need to clear your timings. You need to clear your narration if you've done that a few times. But what's great is that every time I hit to the next slide, it's going to give me a new narration. So if I screw up on slide 4, I don't have to start back on slide 1 all over again. I just go to slide 4, clear my screw up, and start recording there. Sue, do you like that? Give me some hands on that one. I see your face, which I love, okay? So that, again, that's helpful if I'm trying to put together a whole lot of content. So just record slideshow. I'm going to record from the beginning. And okay, hold on. It moved to the other screen, so you're not seeing it yet. Hold on. This is what the record screen looks like. So you can actually have your notes drop down if you had notes. You can have your record button over here. You can pause, replay, stop, and you can do it slide by slide. So here you go, microphone's active, and now I'm recording here. I'm not sure if it's going to work because my microphone may be being used in 2 spots. I'm going to just keep going, and I advance to the next slide. And you can just keep going from here, and I'll show you what it looks like in just a second when I get to it, so you can see how you can edit just one. And we're almost done with this, but it's going to take as long as you want it to. Now we get to the last slide, and we end. Okay, and we're out. So now on each slide, I have a little dude down here below in the bottom right-hand corner. That's where your audio got recorded for that slide. Okay, and you can go down to each slide and see it. So you could go listen to that slide's audio. And again, when you're ready to go, you would just go out to save as, make it the MP4, and now you have your narrated slideshow. But wait, Sue, if you're trying to do it from here, because we do a lot of screen demonstrations. The one thing I didn't show you and I couldn't is that when you are recording, and I'll try it here, it won't let me show you right now because I'm using my camera for the Zoom, but you can actually have your little head right here in the bottom right-hand corner. So if you plan for that when you're putting your PowerPoint together, that's where you can have space for your talking head. Does that make sense? Okay, so leave, like actually put it on your slides where you leave space for your talking head and you can record. Actually, if I turn my video on, will it work? It won't work, but yeah, it won't give me my other camera right now. But that's where that would land. And just like I could do the screen capture, before, put a blank slide in really quick. You can also insert screen recordings, Sue Gresham, because I know that this might be something that you want to do, because then I could come in and select this part to be my screen recording and then hit play and have it actually capture the video. Or if I were trying to do a demo, I'm going to exit out of this. If I were trying to do a demo of LinkedIn or something like that. So I will tell you, I'm going to stop sharing right now and we'll open it up for some questions that we have. I have a project coming up with a woman who is really, really, really good in Gmail. And I'm pretty good in Outlook. And I wanted to have a companion training for my Overcoming Inbox Overwhelm that was the Gmail side of things. We're going to each record our screens and get it right and get it to be the right amount of time. And then when we go live with our Zoom, rather than do the demo right on the screen live where things can go wrong, like you saw happen to me, we're going to just play the video.
And you'll
I know.
talk. Wait, and then you're going to just talk through the video.
I'm not sure if I'm going to talk through the video or if I will just say, here's our quick video on this. And then, because I want it to be paced right, but then I'm still going to be there and we can answer questions.
Interesting.
You could pre-record your narration is what you're saying. And so you may talk during your video or you may not, because you could just pre-record your whole video.
Correct. Yep. So it's just giving, by using PowerPoint to do some of this stuff, it's just giving me a different way to think about how I can prepare, how I can leverage, and I'm not making more of an investment. It's a technology that I'm pretty comfortable with.
It really helps you control your time frame, doesn't it?
So much.
Otherwise, it's squirrel moment in brain and something else comes out that now has taken another 30 seconds. And well, that's my life, so anyway. And so consequently, you end up short on time for questions, which is also
right.
Yep. Plus, if you really think about how you can leverage those videos, then those little micro videos can be micro trainings that are sent out or micro advertisements about things that you have come up. If you just think like Nancy Lucchese had to do a 5-minute presentation recently for the chamber and she created a quick video for it, she can repurpose that thing a bajillion times. It's beautiful.
Have you ever not made a video live where you've got to send it out later, then you look at it and you go, oh dear God, you know, you've controlled the quality too.
Mary, so many of the things that I have done have been that for me, so many. Any other questions before we shift gears?
Oh, there's 1,000 questions, but it's okay. I'm just going to go in and play and figure it out.
Well, and let me know, Sue, because sometimes those questions are the things that help me teach this stuff better too.
I will. Well, so, you know, here's a silly thing, okay? I have never looked to, when I was doing my PowerPoints, I've never looked to see how many different ways I could save that. So just because I make things, because Canva can be a pain in the neck sometimes. So I make stuff on, especially inserting text. I have really struggled with that with Canva. So I just make a lot of stuff in PowerPoint, and then I use my Snagit and I save it as a JPEG. Now I don't have to do that. Now I can just save it. That alone is like a.
However, for resizing, you may still want to use your Snagit for it. So don't rule out the technique you were using. This is going to give you slide size, which is like a 16:9 dimension. That might or may not be what you always want.
Right. But that's good to know. And I didn't know the dimensions, so thank you for that too. But yeah, I'm just some little things like that. It's like, whoa, that's crazy neat. So thank you.
You bet.
It's tiny things.
I think you blew all of our minds, Jennifer, so thank you.
She does that on a regular basis.
That's true. She's awesome. So go ahead, Michelle.
All right, we're going to switch over gears now, and now Amanda is going to talk to us about how can we back up this video that we just made and everything else that's on your computer. Amanda is our Director of Operations at Tech Lab, and she's been at Tech Lab since 2013. Amanda got her Master's of Education in Instructional Technology, and she does business development, sales, and marketing for Tech Lab. Amanda, you want to take it away on backups?
Sounds great. All right, thank you, everybody. I'm going to share my screen with my presentation, and hopefully this rolls. As we said, it's a live show, so you never know. All right, so I think you guys can see that. Is that what you're seeing? Do I have this good, Michelle? Okay. All right, so I'm going to talk to you guys today about backups. Why should you back up your computer? You may say, I don't really have a reason to, but have you ever accidentally deleted something that you didn't mean to delete? Yeah, I think all of us can admit that. Have you ever had a computer die? Just randomly, like, oh, garbage, now what?
Just recently.
Oh, no. So if this happens, then what do you do? So sometimes your data can be recovered. Yeah, I agree, Jennifer, cry a lot. So sometimes your data can be recovered in these situations. Sometimes you can recover your data, but it might be really expensive. And sometimes your data cannot be recovered at all. It depends on what happens. It depends on why it died. There's so many different factors. So it's recommended that you do have a backup so that even if your data is not restored, you can at least have some of your data or most or all of your data available to you. For technical reasons, if your computer gets a virus, which we've talked about before, you can help restore your computer from a backup that you know was safe before you got infected. Additionally, if you have changes to your computer that you don't know whether they were done correctly, like maybe an update or something like that, that completely breaks your computer, then you can restore to a previous configuration of your computer. And maybe you made changes to a file and you were like, oh no, I saved the wrong one. That happens to me frequently. And then you can restore the file from your backup as well. You can just go back into your backup, find that file, and you're good to go again. Or if you get a new computer, many of us block this out of our memory. My husband told me recently that we both have. Setting up a computer from scratch is kind of a pain, and it takes a lot of time. And so if you have a backup of your computer, you can restore your computer from backup even when you get a new one, and you don't have to set everything back up again. So that's another advantage to having a backup of your computer. You don't have to take the time going through all that setup and install and all of that stuff. So you may have the question of, what should I back up? So if your device gets drowned in a lake, what would you want to have? That's basically where you would stay right now. If your computer went in a lake or you lost it today right now, what would you be sad to lose? You would want to think about what you would have on your devices, anything from photos to your bookmarks, to your contacts, to your documents, all of those are important. And then think about all the things that would be hard time to restore, like maybe, like I said, your contacts. And then some of your things can also be stored on the cloud. But those you may or may not need to back up depending how they're saved. You know, if they're only on your computer, you got to think about that too. So if you're like, okay, what do I back up? You can think of those things. So anything that you would be sad to lose, anything that you use regularly, that's all important stuff to back up. Then the question comes, okay, I know what to back up, but when should I back up? In general, you never know when your device is going to fail. And so we recommend backing up your device whenever you're on a computer or once or twice a week. So if you're on a computer regularly and you use it regularly, then back it up once or twice a week. Your backups can be set up to be automatic or manual, and TechLab is happy to help and work with you on this to set up either way, whichever way you would like to do it. If it's automatic, it always backs up for you. It's plugged in, and it does it itself. So maybe we set it on a schedule to be backed up twice a week. If you want it to be set up more than that, we can do that. And it just depends on how much you use it. But if you want it to be manual, then you would plug it in and you'd have to go through the settings yourself and make sure that you are the ones that does it. No matter how you want to set up, we do recommend setting up the whole device to be backed up so that if your computer would die, then you can set up your computer from scratch. So not everybody is comfortable with this, and it's going to depend on the size of your computer, the size of how you're backing up, which I'll mention next too, but yeah, that way you don't have to restore the whole computer. So how do I exactly back up? There's two options. You can back up to the cloud, or you can back up to a hard drive. That hard drive can be in your physical presence, like we're all at home, so in your house or in the office, or there's also, you can have a second location to back up, like our office, where we have servers and things that you can back up to another location. It is a good idea to have both an on-site backup and an off-site backup. So if you're going to back up to the cloud, your device needs to be connected to the internet. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, it already is backing up to iCloud usually. That's pretty much built in. You can also physically save items to the cloud. You just need internet access to use them, unless you're going to do settings offline. I know Google can make things to be used offline, and I'm assuming that Microsoft can do the same thing, Jennifer, right? Yeah, I see you nodding your head. So usually you have to be on the internet unless you plan ahead and you download things ahead of time to use on Google or OneDrive, or even like Netflix and like PBS allows you to download things these days to see offline, like if you know you're going to be going somewhere. To back up to a hard drive, your device needs to be connected to the hard drive, and it should be at least the same size as your computer. So if you have a 0.5 terabyte computer, you need to at least have a 0.5 terabyte hard drive, external hard drive to connect to. So something to keep in mind is the size really does matter. You need to know how much space you're currently using, and you need to know how big you can go. All right, so it can be done offline. You only have to have access to your data if you're going to do it on a hard drive. So maybe you're not comfortable putting things up on the cloud, which is totally okay. There are ways to do it on site, and your data does not have to go on the cloud. It would only be located on that other physical location unless you duplicate it and you do it one on site, like an actual hard drive, and then maybe one off site somewhere else, or you save it on 2 hard drives too. All you have to do is you plug in the hard drive. As said, the size does matter, so that you make sure you have enough space for all of your data. You can keep it plugged in all the time, or you can plug and unplug depending on your preferences. And then there's some examples of how you would go to the control panel, backup, setup, backup. And then on a Mac, if you use a Mac, you would go through your time machine. Just a quick thing there. So, and then to back up your iPad or your phone, you would need to plug it in your computer, and then you can use iTunes to back up your phone or your iPad, and then you can do a manual backup and restore for your devices. Okay. This is also helpful in case there's ever fire and flooding or other disasters. That's why I've mentioned too, a second location is a good practice to have as well. It's our office, and then our office also has an offsite backup as well. So we have onsite and offsite backup for our office as well. All right, so that was backing up manually to a hard drive. Now we'll talk about backing up to the cloud. So you would need an internet connection so that anything that's in the cloud, you can get anywhere that you have internet or data connection. It usually does require an account. You can go to iCloud, which, as I said, is built right into iPads and iPhones. A lot of your items are already saved there from your photos and any of your apps and that kind of stuff, your music. So the free version has 5 gigabytes of storage on it for iCloud. TechLab can also help you store your data. We charge 20 cents per gigabyte per month. For the 5 of you who are on our call though, we're gonna give you, it's for 10 cents per gigabyte per month, half off special and no setup fee. So if you if you're interested in that, we'd be happy to work with you on that. So we'd be happy to do that. And then your email is usually also automatically stored on the internet. So whether you're using Google or whether you're using Outlook or any other service, it is stored on the internet, even if you use another method to access it. Just keep in mind that some emails have space limits. So if you're one of those people, I know I am, where you save a bunch of stuff, then just keep in mind your space may become limited if you have been somewhere for a while or you just have a lot of email. Other recommendations is that there is file storage available online. You can use Google Drive. You get 15 gigabytes free. OneDrive, has it changed, Jennifer? Is it still just 5 gigabytes free? That's fine, I'm putting her on the spot. And then Dropbox has 2 gigabytes free, but you can have an option to get a little additional storage free if you do like some other extra stuff, share and go from there. So we can always confirm that. But when I had done the research, OneDrive had 5 gigabytes free for file storage. So if you're looking for some options of where can I save my stuff, some general options would be Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, and I think even Amazon has a file sharing in system now as well. So
they do.
Another option.
You're right. The free version is 5 gig on OneDrive. But if you guys already have an Office 365 subscription, you're getting 1 terabyte of storage free, which is
a lot.
Yeah, and they do have an upgraded storage available for $2 a month for 50 gig. So, few options.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
But the difference is having to remember to do it yourself.
Yes.
Or just having it happen naturally behind the scenes. Just saying.
That is true. That is true. And I know that Google also has a paid version. I think it's also a couple bucks a month. And then it goes up to 100 gigabytes. So if you're approaching that too, that's another option. So people save a lot of things usually on the internet. Usually it is safe than just having it only on your device. So keep that in mind. But things can still happen. And so we recommend saving your files, important documents. Basically, if something happens or you get attacked or, maybe water or wine gets spilled on your device, then you know that it is possible. Yeah, we've had people who brought in their computer and spilled wine all over. So, and then had to restore it. So just keep that in mind. If you don't want to think about it, as Jennifer just said, Tech Lab can help you to set it up and be able to forget about it, or we can be the one to take charge of it and set the whole thing up, do the backup, work with you either way. So backup is a very helpful thing. It can be easier technically if you get infected or something happens. We do have an offsite backup in case something happens. And we recommend that both for individuals and for personal use as well. So please keep us in mind for any of your backup needs.
I just want to add too is that I see a lot of people who will bring in a USB drive, and if a USB drive gets broken, it's really hard to fix. And a lot of people will use the USB drive for a file that they're working on between different places. Please back up your USB drive.
Yeah.